Welcome to Crimson Guitars, welcome to the Zebrano Insanity build, part 4-ish, I think. This guitar, in which I played with resin. Did some chip carving, did some resin infill. It has been, it's actually been a number of weeks now. I'm not entirely sure what happened. Life happened. I am now going to scrape away all of the excess and see what it looks like. There is still some bubbling because do you know what I did? I'm foolish and I got distracted. What I didn't do the second time I applied the resin was I did not seal the wood first with melamine lacquer or shellac or anything like that. And air bubbles were coming in from the wood. I then used the hot air gun while the resin was curing, and that obviously got rid of some bubbles, but at some point there were bubbles still coming in, but it was cured enough that we couldn't get rid of all of them. And this is soul-destroyingly depressing. It's not soul-destroyingly depressing, it is just what it is. I am not, however, going to chip all of that out for a third time. I am going to scrape it back, polish it up and see what it looks like. I'm quite tempted to have an oil finish on the rest of the guitar and have the rays of the sun or whatever it is as the shiny part in the build. So I'm not sure where this video is going to take us. I have no clue, apart from the fact that it involves the scraper of awesomeness. Alrighty then, hi. We have bubbles, and not the good kind. But what I'm going to do is mix up a little bit more resin and fill. And there we go. I'm going to leave that to cure for another 2 or 3 days to make sure it's absolutely as hard as it can be. I will flatten it down. Well, that'll be soon, if you're you. And we're back. Resin is cured and I need to scrape back. We've got another bubble and back to the scraping. Just for fun. What can you do? So, yet again, we have a slight problem. You saw me apply this resin and I used heat to get rid of any bubbles, and even so, we have a bubble. It's actually quite deep below the surface. I'm going to finish scraping this down and then put yet another sort of drop of resin just in there, just to fill it, because I really do want, whether we have bubbles on the inside or not, which you can see just in there, that's not too much of an issue, but I do want a glass smooth surface on the front. My gosh. Back to the scraping. I do love my scrapers. This is cured for about 12 hours or so, and because this is super glue in smaller lumps, using a scraper will probably just rip it straight out. So I'm going with a leveling beam. And the problem with the scraper at this level as well is you go over the bump and then create divots or dips behind the things that you're scraping, unless you are very, 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 very precise and very careful. In this case, I'm going to use a larger tool and see where we end up. The amount of times a leveling beam has saved me heartache and trouble is incalculable. Okay, at this stage, the instrument is pretty much there. I'm not 100% happy with the amount of bubbles that were in there. It's not as perfect as I would like, but I'm also not going to fight with it. I'm not going to remove half of those diamonds and redo and redo and redo. At this point, for an experiment, I'm going to just draw a line under it. Now, well, that's that stage. I have got a lot of sanding to do. And I'm going to take it down to the factory floor and use the random orbital sanders, etc. to get that done. Then bring it back up here, do a fine scrape with a perfectly sharpened scraper. I just blew dust on my face again, showing you what I did the first time. Fool me once, fool me twice. Anyone? Yeah, so basically, fine sand the whole guitar. I'm going to get a scraper and do one coat of scraping with a perfectly sharp scraper. Maybe I'll show you how to do that. Check out the videos, I've done that before. And then it's a case of applying oil and hardware. And I think we're probably going to film the oil and hardware bits, so well, stay tuned, stay tuned. After these messages, welcome to Crimson Guitars. Please consider supporting our Patreon and clicking like and subscribe. And I lost it. Notification button. No. Sanding time. Joy.